guys, if you're new to Deception Bites, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go. Okay guys, I'm back and it's Tuesday, September 24th, and in honor of that, I'm wearing my 24 t-shirt. Hey, why not celebrate the 24th, huh? Who said I can't? So anyway, we are going to get right into the Q-related news here. And at first, I just have 3 people to thank. So I'm going to do it now, and then we will get on with our broadcast. But this is so cute. Pam J. from California. She is a regular and been a fan of the show for quite a while. And she sent a wonderful card. That's not where I want to be. Let me see here. She sent a wonderful card, and look, it's a cat doing a selfie. I'm not sure. I guess it's this way is up. It's a cat doing a selfie. Look, that's adorable. Anyway, and let's go back here. Also, Allison PM from Mount Vernon, Ohio. She sent a wonderful card and a donation. And this is, and actually, I know that she sent me the information on where you can get prints of this. So I'll find that out and I will put it in one of my videos, probably the next one or whatever. I will let you guys know where they are available. But this is it's a picture of a piece of artwork she's done entitled The Storm. So that would be her interpretation of the storm, and it's absolutely beautiful. So yeah, I'll find that out for you because I think it's beautiful, and I don't know why people wouldn't want one. And I think she said she put them on mugs and stuff as well, so I'll get that information to you. Also, Teddy Legacy from Duanesburg, New York. I know roughly where that is because I always fly out of Syracuse or into Syracuse, whatever the case may be. And he sent a little note and a donation, and it's to take my mom and my stepfather out to celebrate my mom getting her license. I thought that really touched me, and I called them and let them know, and they were really, really touched. So thank you so much, Teddy Legacy from, well, I shouldn't have probably said your last name, but sorry, Duanesburg, upstate New York. And I know exactly, well, not exactly, but I know pretty much where that is. So it's always nice when I see that people are fairly close by. So that's it, and we're going to get in. Thank you guys so much, all you guys, Patreon supporters, and you guys that buy coffee for me. I can't do this show without that. I don't receive any paid advertising on the show at all, although some people have said that YouTube has snuck in advertising on some of these videos, which really annoys me because I don't get any of that. They have demonetized me because they said that my content is not suitable for advertisers, but it seems to be suitable for advertisers when they deem it okay and they get the money. So anyway, very, very unfair, the things that are happening with YouTube. But anyway, and I don't do any paid promotion. I have been approached to do that, and I don't like that. I don't want people sitting through the same thing every time. So anyway, let's go on now and get into the Q-related news. And there's always a ton of that. Now, this is interesting, I think, and there'll be a bit more about her as we go on today. Just in, climate activist Greta Thunberg has sued 15 countries, that's right, 15, for not acting on climate change. China, the world's biggest polluter, is not one of those 15 countries. Things that make you go, Yeah, why wouldn't they sue China? Gee, I wonder. Maybe because it's not really about climate change. All right, and let's take a look at this now. You know why? Because we can. And we are going to. Here we go. All right. Oh, yes, and here are the same. Someone said to me to get, a browser add-in or whatever, but the problem is that some of these sites, unless you turn on the ads, you can't see the articles. So it's like you either let them put articles on there, or you let them put ads on there, or you don't see the articles, and that's it. So I think this must be one of those sites, because any of them that you see advertisements on, they're sites that do that. I hate it. Anyway, boom, breaking report. VP Joe Biden specifically set up scenario for meeting between top Ukrainian officials and his son Hunter Biden's company. Well, it just gets, we know about all this, but it just gets worse and worse. But meanwhile, all they do is scream, impeach Trump, impeach him. And it's interesting, and I'll play this for you a little bit later, where they're all saying, oh, we got to impeach him so he doesn't, win another term. Since when is impeachment political, in the sense that it doesn't matter that he's done nothing wrong. It doesn't seem to matter to them about that. It's just impeach him so he doesn't win. It's getting so asinine that really I have to pinch myself sometimes and ask myself, is this for real? Am I really living in this world, or am I dreaming, or have I slipped into an alternate reality? I don't know. It just, every day that goes by gets odder and odder and odder. Anyway, investigative reporter John Solomon joined Sean Hannity on Monday night to break a shocking update on the Biden family Ukrainian scandal. According to his sources, John Solomon says Joe Biden set up the meeting between the Ukrainian officials and his son's company 3 weeks before they met in 2014. Hunter Biden was then paid at least $166,000 a month following the lucrative deal set up by his daddy with the Ukrainian leaders. $166,000 a month. Imagine. I think probably most of us would not earn that in a whole year. I know I most certainly wouldn't, and I'm quite sure that there may be some of you that have very, very good jobs, but that's a lot of money, especially for just 1 month. John Solomon, let me add a new fact that I just learned tonight. While talking to U.S. diplomats today overseas in Europe, I learned that on April 22nd, 2014, less than 3 weeks before the Burisma Holdings announced that Hunter Biden was joining their board, Vice President Joe Biden met with the Prime Minister of Ukraine, and in that meeting, according to a transcript that I obtained tonight, Joe Biden specifically encouraged the Ukrainians to expand natural gas production with the help of Americans coming to the country. He set up the exact scenario that Hunter Biden, just a few weeks later, cashed in on. Sean Hannity, whoa, this now takes it to a whole new level, because now he's basically doing the bidding for his own son's wealth creation. Maybe even his son would share with his father? John Solomon, those were the questions Ukrainians were trying to answer back in 2016 before the prosecutor was fired, Sean. I do think that the evidence that the Ukrainians possessed and would like to give to the U.S. Department of Justice, or that the evidence that the Ukrainians possess and would like to give to the U.S. Department of Justice is just sitting there to be handed over. After that meeting, U.S. banking records show Hunter Biden's American-based firm, Rosemont Seneca Partners, LLC, received regular transfers into one of its accounts, usually more than $166,000 a month, from Burisma from spring 2014 through fall 2015, during a period when Vice President Biden was the main U.S. official dealing with Ukraine and its tense relations with Russia. And what did Hunter Biden do for that $166,000 a month? Very little. Yeah. So, that's that. And keep in mind that all of this is known. It's well known. It's provable. But yet they want to impeach Trump. Okay. Well, they don't generally make a whole lot of sense, do they? Now, let's go back and go on to the next item, because we can. Now, look at this. This actually might be old. I'm going to have to look at this. No, it's not. It's not old at all. The FBI just arrested a U.S. Army soldier who allegedly plotted to bomb a major news network. This is a Middle East-style bomb, he allegedly wrote to an undercover agent. They'll probably say he was a Trump supporter and he was wanting to, I don't know, we'll see what they say. The FBI arrested a member of the U.S. Army who allegedly plotted to bomb a major news network and shared bomb-making information online. Well, that wasn't very smart of him, was it? Does that say Fort Mill? Oh, no, Fort Riley, sorry. I don't know. I just see what I want to see. Jarrett William Smith, a 24-year-old soldier stationed at Fort Riley, Kansas, was charged with one count of distributing information related to explosives and weapons of mass destruction. As early as 2016, he also discussed joining the thousands of men traveling to Ukraine to fight alongside the far-right paramilitary group Azov Battalion, according to the FBI. This is a Middle East style bomb that, if big enough or connected to the right explosive, can damage or destroy U.S. military vehicles, Smith told an undercover FBI agent of car bombs, according to court documents. Most of the time, it can obliterate civilian vehicles and people nearby. Well, goody. Smith had risen to the level of private first-class infantry soldier since joining the Army in June 2017. If convicted on the current charges, he could get up to 20 years in federal prison and a maximum fine of $250,000. After joining the military, Smith connected with an American man on Facebook who had already traveled to Ukraine between 2017 and 2019 to fight with a group similar to Azov. According to the FBI, the man positioned himself as Smith's mentor and was helping him prepare to travel to Ukraine. Court documents include excerpts of a Facebook conversation between Smith and the American man and others from October 2018, after Smith had enlisted in the Army. In the conversation, Smith brags about his ability to transform cell phones into explosive devices in the style of Afghans. He then provides them instructions about how to do it. On August 19th, Smith unwittingly spoke with an undercover FBI agent online and told him he was hoping to meet like-minded radicals and aspired to kill members of Antifa. He was also considering targeting cell towers or a local news station, according to court documents. Days later, he settled on his chosen target. He wanted to attack the headquarters of a major American news network using a car bomb. The court documents don't reveal which network he wanted to target. Then, last Friday, he talked to an undercover agent on Telegram and discussed specifics on how to build a car bomb. Smith was arrested over the weekend and admitted to FBI agents that he knows how to make explosive devices and routinely provides instruction on how to build those devices online. He admitted that he provided this information even to individuals who tell them they intend to use the information to cause harm to others, one FBI agent wrote. Smith stated that he did this to cause chaos. He told me that if chaos results in the death of people, even through information he provided, it doesn't affect him. Smith's arrest only came days after DHS formally recognized white nationalism as a serious national security threat and unveiled a new counterterrorism strategy to combat it. Since April, Congress has held 7 hearings about the now global threat. Earlier this month, former FBI agent Ali Soufan, who runs the global security firm, the Soufan Center, testified that 17,000 foreigners, including from the U.S., have traveled to Ukraine in recent years to gain paramilitary skills there. They fought alongside far-right groups like Azov and were returning home with those new skills. Smith's case is yet another example of how current and former U.S. service members have allegedly been recruited or radicalized by far-right extremists. 7 members of the U.S. military were outed earlier this year as members of Identity Evropa, a white nationalist group that cultivates a preppy aesthetic in an effort to go mainstream. In another case, a Coast Guard lieutenant and former Marine was allegedly plotting a large-scale attack against Democratic lawmakers and journalists. He was arrested earlier this year on gun and drug charges, and active duty service members were found to be involved in Atomwaffen, a violent neo-Nazi group. This isn't just a problem in the U.S. An Army reservist in Canada was dismissed over his alleged ties to a violent neo-Nazi group earlier this summer and later went missing. Yeah. I don't know what to think about this because, you know, of course they're wanting to say that this is a problem because then it all comes back on Trump, that he is the one encouraging this and he is the one that's stirring up all this hate. And that's why people, you know, that's why someone such as this would target a news organization or the Democrats because, you know, they're far right extremists and they lump Trump in there. And I don't know how much of this is, you know, made up. And we know that they're not above that. They'll make up stories and put it in the news, or they, you know, I mean, they plan false flags. So there you go. Interesting. Don't know if I believe it, but it's interesting. Okay, now, this is interesting, but I'm going to skip it from now, and I want to show you Greta's mother. You know, Greta Thunberg. I don't know what's wrong. Sammy, come here. He's got food, water, toys. Okay, let me get back to this. This is her mother, okay? Greta Thunberg, mother, actress Melina Thunberg buying a frozen pizza. Sorry, I can't talk tonight. Buying a frozen pizza wrapped in plastic. Now, let's look at this bizarre woman. Now, there are people trying to counter this and say that's not her mother. Bull. This is her mother. It is. So if you're on Facebook or Twitter and somebody, you know, trolls you and says that's not her mother, that's not true. Not true.
Och det är inte en massa assistenter och sådant som folk kanske tror. Nej, bara jag och mina dansare. Jag handlar precis som vanligt folk gör. Tacos och pizza. Ja, ingen rysk kaviar här, inte som folk kanske tror. Nej. Ingen konstigt alls. Nu ska jag ner och handla lite mat.
And then it starts over again, but, you know... gee, she doesn't want attention much, does she? And it's odd that she gets a frozen pizza. And then you've got the one eye symbolism with the guys behind her. I mean, gee, yeah, she's totally normal. All right. Oh, and then interesting too, this picture came out, and I'm not sure, I saw it on one of the magazines, but I'm not sure what magazine it was. Let me see if this says ID. And notice the one eye symbolism there with little Greta. Yeah, so let's go back here because there's more. There's always more. There's always more. And let me see here because I think I have something else about Greta. But, you know, we'll just take them as they come. Let's go to Pelosi next. Okay, just get ready to roll your eyes, okay? Just get ready to roll your eyes because you'll want to. Now, first of all, who has eyebrows that even teenagers that have perfect skin and complexion and everything don't have eyebrows that, what the heck did they do to her? Literally, like, look at these eyebrows. That is not normal for any human being to have eyebrows way up here. Like, I would have to have eyebrows way up there to match hers. Unbelievable. And she's obviously, you know, had work done, which is fine. You know, she wants to have work done, that's fine. But this isn't even normal, her eyebrows there. But it's what she's, and someone said, end of the demon rat party. Thank you, Nana. Listen to her now. I'm sorry to do this to you.
dishonorable fact of the President's betrayal of his oath of office, betrayal of our national security, and betrayal of the integrity of our elections. Therefore, today, I'm announcing the House of Representatives moving forward with an official impeachment inquiry. I'm directing our 6 committees to proceed with their investigations under that umbrella. Dishonorable fact.
And she always sounds like she's got marbles in her mouth. She does not, you know, and I know I bumble stuff too, but she always sounds like she's got some sort of a speech impediment or something. And that's fine. I mean, I used to have one. I worked very hard to overcome it. But anyway, it's odd. And it's very odd that they're going ahead with impeachment, or at least they're going to be looking into impeachment. And I can tell you right now, this is the end of the Democrat Party, because I think people that were on the fence now are going to be like, oh my gosh, that's all these people care about. That's it. That's it. They don't care about anything else. Why doesn't she look after her own state? With all the homelessness and the rats and the garbage and everything else. Why doesn't she look after that? She doesn't want to do her job. She just wants Trump out of there so that, it won't affect her pocketbook and she won't get sent to jail. That's the bottom line. And the sad thing is we all know it. All right. Well, let's go on now. Let's look at this. Explosive. Lindsey Graham calls for investigation into Biden-Ukraine scandal, and there should be an investigation. That is treason. On Sunday, during an interview with Maria Bartiromo on Fox News, Senator Lindsey Graham made a bold move by calling on the Department of Justice to investigate all things Ukraine after recent revelations show questionable behavior between 2020 Democratic presidential candidate Joe Biden and the Ukrainian government. Graham started by commenting on a recent statement where Biden claimed that people had already looked into the scandal. Which is nonsense. When Biden said, they looked into it, they found nothing. That was completely made up. Just like the fact that he was going to beat Trump like a drum. Oh, I just can't get over that. I like to say it over and over again. Joe Biden said, everybody's looked at this and found nothing. Graham said, who is everybody? Nobody's looked at the Ukraine and the Bidens. Nobody's looked at the role the Ukraine played in the 2016 election. Do you think the media in America would really look at it and report on it if it was something bad for the Bidens or they unduly interfered in the 2016 election? Graham continued, I'm calling for somebody in the Justice Department to look at all things Ukraine. We have looked at all things Russia and Trump, his family, everything about his family, every transaction between the Trump campaign and Russia. Now it's time to see whether or not the Ukrainians released information regarding Manafort, who was Trump's campaign manager. What relationships, if any, did the Biden world have to the Ukraine? Graham added, what role, if any, did the Ukraine play in the 2016 election? So nobody's looked at this, but somebody should. So I'm hoping the Department of Justice will look at the Biden-Ukraine connection like we looked at the Trump-Russia connection. Can you imagine if this were Trump family doing business like this? He continued, I like Joe Biden. I like him a lot, but you can't have it both ways here. You've done everything but turn the Trump world upside down when it comes to this president. There are no rules, including a phone call. Everything is fair game when it comes to Trump. There are no privileges. Yeah. On Saturday, Biden had a meltdown when he was confronted by Fox News reporter Peter Doocy, who asked him about his questionable behavior with Ukraine in the past. Doocy started by asking Biden if he abused his power as vice president by firing a Ukrainian prosecutor who was investigating his son. Mr. Vice President, how many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings? Doocy questioned. This simple question set off a nerve in Biden, yeah, it sure did. I have never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings, Biden said, and here's what I know. I know Trump deserves to be investigated. He is violating every basic norm of a president. You should be asking him the question why he's on the phone with a foreign leader trying to intimidate a foreign leader. If that's what happened, that appears to be what happened. You should be looking at Trump. Everyone looked at this and everybody's looked at it and said there's nothing there, Biden said. Ask the right questions. Yeah, it's questions that don't make me look bad. That's what he's saying. Instead of ask the right questions, he's saying, look, ask some questions that make me look good. Stop asking me questions that make me look bad. Unbelievable. So anyway, that is that. And absolutely, this has got to be looked at. It's got to be. And the fact that, I mean, as soon as somebody questions him about Ukraine, he's turning it to Trump. Oh, it's Trump. It's Trump that's done that. And that's the game they all play. All of them. You question them on anything. Everything's Trump's fault. You should be looking at Trump. Don't look here. Look there. So, yeah. Now, I'm telling you, those eyebrows kill me. They kill me. What the heck is that? Who has eyebrows like that? She's like perma-surprised. Anyway, all right. I don't know why that bugs me, but it does. It just bugs me looking at somebody with eyebrows way up into their hairline. All right. Okay, I don't know. Maybe I'm in a bad mood tonight. I'm not really. I'm actually in quite a good mood. All right, let's look at this. Oh, yes. Now you're going to enjoy this. You really are. I promise. Now, if you don't enjoy this, then you can, I don't know. You can go look at another channel. All right. Minutes after Pelosi launches impeachment inquiry, the Trump campaign releases this video. I love the Trump campaign. Let's listen. That's loud.
For you, do you personally think
Here, let me go back.
impeachment should be considered?
I think it should.
For you, do you personally think impeachment should be considered?
I think it should.
We begin impeachment proceedings now.
And we've got to impeach him and get rid of him.
My sole focus right now is to make sure that he's not the president next term.
We're going to go in there, we're going to impeach the motherfucker.
We're going to launch an Article 3 impeachment.
In the question of impeachment, it's about time.
Nadler is, I hope he's not following the rules. Congress to take the steps towards impeachment.
We're going to have to prosecute this.
We're going to have to do it. We're going to have to impeach.
Impeachment is still on the table.
Absolutely. It's always on the table.
We cannot accept a second term for Donald Trump.
If we don't impeach this president, he will get reelected.
It's time to stop this nonsense. They think they're going to win. Did you see the one man? He said it's the only way we're going to beat him in 2020. They have to do this. The only way well, that's a compliment, I guess. But think of what he said. It's the only way they're going to beat me. And actually, it's working the other way because now we have our best poll numbers that we've ever had. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And it's true. Well, their sole focus, that's their sole focus, is impeaching Trump and finding something that Trump has done wrong to get him out of office, even if they have to make it up and fabricate it, which they tried to do. Thank goodness it failed. Thank goodness. But could you imagine, like, Trump is living rent-free in all their heads. Literally, he is. That's all they think about. It's probably what they think about when they wake up in the morning. They probably wake up and they go, oh, Hillary lost. Oh. Impeach Trump. We got to impeach Trump. That's all we got to do is impeach Trump. Really, it takes up their whole lives. He's just living rent-free up there because that's all they're concerned about. They don't care about the people that elected them. They don't care about cleaning up their districts or anything else. They don't care about serving the people that elected them. They don't care about any of that. They don't care about America. They don't care about you. They don't care about me. All the illegal aliens that they're so fond of, they don't care about them either. It's just a vote to them. All they want to be is in power. And you know what that tells me? It tells me that they have very small minds. Really. Because in order to feel important, they need that power. In order to feel needed, wanted, in control, they need that power. Those are small people that think that way. Very, very small-minded people. Anyway, that's what we have in the Democrat Party. So let's go on. Sure, let's. Okay, Donald J. Trump, such an important day at the United Nations, so much work and so much success, and the Democrats purposefully had to ruin and demean it with more breaking news witch hunt garbage. So bad for our country. It is bad for our country, but they don't care. You would think, really, if they were normal people, they would say, okay, you know what? We lost in 2016, but let's work. Let's do our best for the people that we're trying to serve and, hope for the best. But no, that's not good enough for them. They probably knew that the election was rigged with Hillary, and they're probably, I think that they're so angry and so ticked off that they've been had. I don't know what's going to happen. I know one thing that's going to happen unless there is massive voting fraud, and Q told us that they have control of the elections now. So I think one thing that's going to happen is we're going to have Trump for another 4 more years, and that's fine by me. All right, let's look at this. I love, Trump is brilliant. He really is. I don't know. You have to be stupid to say he's stupid. Really. Because you can see the sheer brilliance of this man. It's evident. Oh, I hate when that happens. Hemorrhoids. Is that a real problem? Hemorrhoids? I don't know. Breaking. President Trump authorizes release of unredacted transcript of his phone call to Ukrainian President Zelensky. Oh, he's brilliant. See, now they're not going to have anything because they're all saying, oh, yeah, well, he was doing that on this phone call. Yes, he was, even though nobody even heard the phone call. They didn't. They admitted that. It was hearsay. They got it from somebody else that said it, so he's releasing it. And then they're like, oh, no, don't release it. You can't do that. Oh, they think he's stupid. They really do. President Trump on Tuesday announced he authorized the full unredacted transcript of his phone call to Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky. I am currently at the United Nations representing our country, but have authorized the release tomorrow of the complete, fully declassified and unredacted transcript of my phone conversation with President Zelensky of Ukraine. You will see it was a very friendly and totally appropriate call, no pressure, and unlike Joe Biden and his son, no quid pro quo. This is nothing more than the continuation of the greatest and most destructive witch hunt of all time, Trump said in a pair of tweets Tuesday morning. And here Donald Trump is saying, I am currently at the United Nations. Okay. We just read what he said. President Trump is being accused of abusing his power by pressuring Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky to investigate the Biden crime family. The real scandal is that Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, was making an exorbitant amount of money from foreign governments and oligarchs, including Ukraine and China. Hunter Biden was making $50,000 a month sitting on the board of Burisma Holdings, a Ukrainian national gas company, despite the fact that he has virtually no knowledge or experience in the field. Joe Biden strong-armed the Ukrainian government and threatened to withhold over $1 billion in loan guarantees if they didn't fire Viktor Shokin, the prosecutor investigating his son Hunter, and Biden bragged about it during a 2018 speech to the Council on Foreign Relations. The whistleblower doesn't even have direct knowledge of President Trump's phone call with Zelensky, and there was no quid pro quo, so this entire Democrat media frenzy is based on deep state gossip fueled by leaks to the Washington Post. Wonder who that could be. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi will hold a meeting with her Democrat caucus Tuesday afternoon at 4 p.m. to discuss whether to impeach President Trump in the wake of the deep state Trump-Ukraine whistleblower hit. Oh my gosh. Joe Biden and many senior Democrats call for Trump to be impeached Tuesday morning, and the president poured cold water on their fantasy by announcing that he will be releasing the unredacted transcript of his phone call to Zelensky. Watch this epic video Trump posted Monday of Biden's corruption. This is the real corruption that the fake news media refuses to even acknowledge. And
Mr. Vice President, how many times have you ever spoken to your son about his overseas business dealings?
I've never spoken to my son about his overseas business dealings. I went over, I guess, the 12th, 13th time to Kyiv. Why is he on the phone with a foreign leader, trying to intimidate a foreign leader? And I had gotten a commitment from Poroshenko and from Yatsenyuk that they would take action against the state prosecutor, and they didn't. You should be asking him the question. I said, I'm not going to, we're not going to give you the $1 billion. They said, you have no authority. You're not the president. The president said. I said, call him. This appears to be an overwhelming abuse of power. I said, I'm telling you, you're not getting $1 billion. Trying to intimidate a foreign leader. I looked, I said, I'm leaving in 6 hours. If the prosecutor's not fired, you're not getting the money. Well, son of a bitch. Got fired. And everybody's looked at it and said there's nothing there. Ask the right question.
Oh, he's a piece of work, isn't he? A piece of work. So, there you go. You know, and I think that was the best thing for Trump to do. Oh, okay. You know, you're accusing me of all this. Okay, well, I'll just release the transcript. Wonder how do they react to that? We'll see, I guess. Now, I'm telling you, those eyebrows, if I see them one more time, I'm going to scream. All right. I mean, it's bad enough that I have to look at Justin Trudeau's brows trying to escape from his head. Now I have to watch brows that are slowly crawling up into her hairline. I don't know what is it with these people and the eyebrows. I don't get it. Okay, let's go on. Now, I'm trying to remember what this is. Oh, yes. This makes me happy. It should make you happy. GOP lawmaker introduces resolution to remove Jerry Nadler as Judiciary Chairman. That would make me extremely happy. Representative Lance Gooden from Texas Republican Texas, introduced a resolution on Tuesday to strip House Judiciary Committee Chair Jerry Nadler of his chairmanship due to his rogue witch hunt to impeach President Donald Trump. Well, I think that's a good idea. In recent days, Democrats have sanctimoniously declared their allegiance to the rule of law, Gooden said in a statement. I encourage them to follow those rules and hold Chairman Nadler accountable for breaking them. By law, he may not launch impeachment proceedings until the full House votes for him to do so. This attempted coup against a duly elected sitting president is unprecedented and must be stopped, he continued. I urge the majority to move immediately to have him stripped of his chairmanship and that any accomplices on the Judiciary Committee not be considered as a replacement. The proposed resolution would not only remove Nadler as the committee's chair, but it would also recognize the illegality of the impeachment proceedings that he has overseen, according to a press release from Gooden's office. The Judiciary Committee must receive authorization to begin impeachment proceedings, yet the full House denied him this authorization in July by overwhelmingly rejecting House Resolution 498, the press release read. Despite this, Chairman Nadler has said publicly he is impeaching the president right now and has clearly initiated the impeachment process in direct violation of law. Accordingly, the Democrat-led committee voted along party lines to broaden the impeachment probe and lay out the groundwork for a subsequent investigation. The move is a major step towards formalizing what would be a sweeping probe into the president. Top House Republicans have been vocal critics of Nadler's aggressive pursuit of impeachment proceedings. GOP Conference Chair Liz Cheney slammed Nadler and his Democratic caucus earlier in the month for shirking their constitutional responsibilities in order to do so. Our impeachment, what we're seeing, and they're speaking very publicly about this on the record to many of you, that their first effort at impeachment seems not to have worked, Cheney told reporters at the time. So now they're looking for another path to impeachment. They have been determined to impeach this president at all costs since he was elected, regardless of the Constitution, she continued. They are fundamentally failing to abide by and live up to their constitutional responsibilities, turning impeachment into an absolute political endeavor. Representative Doug Collins, the ranking member of the House Judiciary Committee, has also railed against the Democrats on numerous occasions for continuing an impeachment push in order to score political points. They don't seem to get it. They're so deranged. They're so focused on getting this president that they have lost all track, Collins said only days earlier, before adding that impeachment proceedings are just a giant fishing expedition. Anything that they can do to get a headline, Collins said on a separate occasion. The chairman that has turned this into a press release committee, all they want to do is have cameras show up and press show up, and they'll throw anything they can at the president and try to tear him down. Neither Collins' office nor Cheney's office responded to the Daily Wire when asked if they support Gooden's resolution to remove Nadler as Judiciary Chairman. Oh, I hope that happens. I really hope that happens, because that man is... They're a bunch of rabid dogs, salivating, just salivating, foaming at the mouth. That's all they are. And they're of no substance. They're shadow puppets. Like, you know, look, I'm big and scary, but there's no substance there. You know, like a big puppet. Like a puppet shadow. You know, sure, it's big, but it's not going to harm you because there's nothing there. These people can't even think their own thoughts. It's unbelievable. And yet, it is so believable. All right, now let's look at this. No, really, let's. Well, maybe not. Maybe let's not. Okay. Let's look at this, shall we? A quick look at Greta and her Masonic cabal ancestry and the people backing her. This should be fun. Here in Europe, we had the joy of MK Greta for quite some time now. This is the most obvious social engineering operation I've seen for quite some time. And here she is, World Economic Forum, and there she is. I don't know who this man is, but he looks familiar. And Greta the Great, that's what they call her. Swedish student wins EU pledge to spend billions on climate. The European Union should spend hundreds of billions of euros combating climate change during the next decade, its chief executive said on Thursday. Well, that's wonderful. Where does she come from? A relative of her father, the chemist, Svante Arrhenius, is the founder of the global warming scam. Yeah, that would be this guy. 19th of February 1959, 1859, sorry, to 2nd of October 1927, was a Swedish scientist, originally a physicist, but often referred to as a chemist. Arrhenius was one of the founders of the science of physical chemistry. He received the Nobel Prize for Chemistry in 1903, becoming the first Swedish Nobel laureate. In 1905, he became director of the Nobel Institute, where he remained until his death. And by the way, they are talking about giving Greta Thunberg, the 16-year-old, a Nobel Peace Prize. But after Obama won it, I mean, it doesn't mean anything anyway. And so this is him. I guess that would be, that's a relative of her father. And Svante Harries was a Swedish physicist and physical chemist who formulated the theory of electrolytic dissociation, for which he was awarded the 1903 Nobel Prize. One of the founding fathers of physical chemistry, Arrhenius, also presented a revolutionary model of the greenhouse effect. So now this is kind of small, but this is Greta here, and I know it's hard to see there, and I can't really make it any bigger. I'm sorry. Well, I might be able to. I might have just lied. Okay, I lied a little. I can make it a little bit bigger. I know. I'm always thinking about you tiny phone people. Yes, I am. All right, so this is Greta. It's blurry now, but Greta, and there is her mother, the one that we saw in the, whatever that was. And there is her father, Svante Thunberg, and his father was Olof Thunberg, who is the son of this guy that we just read about. So you can see where she comes by it. And Svante Gustav and Carolina Thunberg, and then Olaf. I don't know. I don't really follow these connections at all, but let's just make it a little smaller so we can fit it on there. Maybe a little smaller. All right. Let's go back up here. And let's follow it down. So he was a colleague of Alfred Nobel, Russian Rockefeller, and later, after his death, director of the Nobel Institute. He was a board member for the Swedish Society for Racial Hygiene. Racial hygiene. Yeah, that's eugenics. And a eugenicist. Well, same thing. See the pattern here? The Russian Rockefellers, the saga of the Nobel family and the Russian oil. And let me see here. He was a board member for the Swedish Society for Racial Hygiene, founded in 1909, which endorsed Mendelism at the time and contributed to the topic of contraceptives around 1910. However, until 1938, information and sale of contraceptives was prohibited in the Kingdom of Sweden. Around 1930, conservative members of the society helped to establish eugenic policies in Sweden. Gordon Stein wrote that Svante Arrhenius was an atheist. In his last years, he wrote both textbooks and popular books trying to emphasize the need for further work on the topics he discussed. In September 1927, he came down with an attack of acute intestinal catarrh and died on the 2nd of October. He was buried in Uppsala. Arrhenius was the grandfather of bacteriologist, I can't say it. Bacteriologist. I don't know, but I'm going to leave that word because I'm making a fool out of myself. And, well, I don't need any help. There is also this strange magazine and article. Oh, look, it's about gendered lifestyle. And an assemblage of science and home, the gendered lifestyle of Svante Arrhenius, and early 20th century physical chemistry. Thunberg is a known Freemason society. The ancestor of her mother was a natural philosopher, social engineer from Uppsala who has ties to Bavarian Illuminati founder Adam Weishaupt. Now, this is why she's being pushed. And I can just about guarantee you she's under MK Ultra. Her handler, on the photos behind her, you see Louisa Marie Neubauer, her handler. She is a member of One Foundation. Where have we heard that before? Q. Managed by Bono, sorry. Well, he's a bonehead. Bono, Bill Gates, and George Soros. Oh, interesting. Remember that One Foundation? That's actually, I just remembered that Q had talked about that. So, yeah, so this is her handler. There she is again, and there she is again, always behind her when she's speaking. Wonder why that is. Just saying. And there she is again. I guess she's coaching her. Or she's her handler, and the poor girl is an MK Ultra, which is what I think. They operate like in the Chinese Cultural Revolution. They want the kids hate the old for killing the earth. They radicalize the kids against the adults violently. They push for totalitarianism. The Chinese Cultural Revolution led to the death of 100 million people, which is true. And, you know, remember the Khmer Rouge and how they took the children, and the children would go home and they would indoctrinate these children, and then the children would go and tell on their parents, who would then be put to death. But that's how brainwashed the kids were. They would tell on their parents, knowing what would happen to their parents. Unbelievable. And it says the problem with Greta Thunberg's climate activism, her radical approach is at odds with democracy. Greta Thunberg attends the Youth for Climate March in Brussels on February 21st. Why isn't this kid in school? I mean, I don't think that that's healthy for her to keep up this world traveling and speaking and constant attention. She's got Asperger's. She can't enjoy this attention, really. But democracy is the planet's biggest enemy. Young people care a lot about climate change, but most of them can't vote. Here's how governments can adapt to accommodate them. Yeah, that's the last thing we need. And of course, this is, you know, a Chinese poster showing the children, and, you know, just like Hitler, you know, engaged the youth and the Hitler youth, and, you know, you propagandize the young. That's what you do. That's where you start with change. Because you know that, you know, you certainly don't start with the older ones that have already been indoctrinated and already have their own ideas about things. No, you start with the young that haven't formed their opinions yet of the world. So they're going to take what you tell them. The symbolism, the movement is called Fridays for Futures. FFF equals 666. Also note how they style her. Yes, I have noticed that. And it's true. With the braids and, you know. And interesting with the one eye symbolism, that they're always showing her with one eye. Somehow this, she has a shadow over her eye, and this, she's got a little button that says Save Our Planet. Not a mistake. That's not a mistake. Predictive programming, X symbolism. They recycle the exact same symbolism from Hollywood's 1984 version of Orwell's novel and Pink Floyd's The Wall. This is for the climate change thing. So I'm not going to get into all of this, but I did want to show you. And this says, well, I don't know what it says because it's not. Oh, it says Germany, ideology and intentions come out to view. More and more schools in Germany are forcing students to do so. And George Soros is backing climate activist Greta Thunberg. Yeah, it says Pam Barker, director of TLB Europe Reloaded project, in a recent short piece for Causeur online magazine. Well, let's go take a look at this if we can. I mean, I already knew that he's backing her, but In a recent short piece for Kazur Online magazine, I tried to interview Greta Thunberg. The most fervent defenders of the climate know nothing about it. Mark Risinger details how he met Greta on the street in Stockholm during one of her climate sit-ins. I heard you're telling students to study the climate. I'd like to interview on this topic if you agree. He sensed her discomfort, perhaps fear. Then she pulled off her wool cap, at which point a middle-aged woman appeared, pulling Greta away, saying she had something else to do, all with the help of a bodyguard dressed in black watching the scene. The video showing this encounter has English subtitles. Well, this will be interesting.
Suggest to the young people that they should study the climate. And I would like to talk with you about that, the climate. If you agree. And did you study yourself? I suppose.
Hello, we have a thing to do now. Sorry, so I need to borrow. Thank you.
You know, that's just weird because she's there at this climate sit-in and somebody's asking to talk to her about the climate, and she's looking, you know, I think she is, you know, they spend copious amounts of time coaching her. And I don't think she knows what to do just off the cuff. Really, I don't. And it's just very interesting. She looks very, very managed. Risinger rightly wonders how some of the globalist bigwigs can prostrate themselves before her when clearly she's virtually mute with adults, only able to chat easily with other young people she's recruited to persuade. His sense is that she's been programmed, manipulated no less, to give apocalyptic speeches in front of the great and good, and wonders if her autism is used as an excuse to shut her up at key moments. Risinger also interviewed a secondary school teacher on video in French who encourages his students to protest against global warming. We've published a lot on why this is fake science, yet he appears to know no more than his students on the topic. Free West Media below gives us the connections between Greta's handlers, her mother, George Soros, and Bill Gates through his One Foundation. The globalists are relentless. George Soros is backing Greta Thunberg. Behind the world-famous 16-year-old climate activist, there's a liberal oligarch and a globalist movement. Greta Thunberg has become world-renowned because of her fight against climate change and lower temperatures on Earth. It all started in 2018 when she began a school strike on her own, standing outside the Swedish parliament with different placards trying to shape opinion and get young people to join. The Swedish mainstream media quickly picked up her one-girl mission against climate change and wrote several articles about her. Few citizens of Sweden could, back then, even dream of what the future would hold. Soon enough, Thunberg met the Pope, spoke in front of the United Nations, and has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. The once lonely 15-year-old girl has become world famous more or less overnight when international mainstream media started reporting about her 15-day-long school strike. Arnold Schwarzenegger even invited her to a climate meeting in Vienna. So, who is this young idealist? Greta Thunberg is now 16 years old and the daughter of famous opera singer and left liberal activist Malena Ernman, pictured above, who in the background has helped her daughter get started. Thunberg soon also got her own coach, a well-known climate activist from Germany by the name Louisa Marie Neubauer. Pictured. What is the likelihood of a young girl who starts a school strike outside the Swedish parliament getting school children from all over the world to join her cause and fight against climate change? And how often do 16-year-olds have their own coaches? Louisa Marie Neubauer, who has been captured on numerous images and video together with Greta when the two direct climate change protests all over the world belongs to the organization called One Foundation. It has several well-known wealthy financiers, including Bono, as well as Bill and Melinda Gates, and even more striking name is that of the multi-billionaire oligarch George Soros, notorious for his currency speculation and maybe even more prominent as the father of the global radical and left liberal lobby and activist network Open Society, supporting thousands of NGOs. Yeah, none of this surprises me at all, because things like that don't just happen organically. I don't think, anyway. So let's just see if there's anything else here. This is her coach. Yeah. And yeah, it says addendum. What's happening now was already exactly leaked out in 2016. Wording included, our house is on fire, burning, climate Pearl Harbor. Interesting. As you may have noticed with the fake doomsday propaganda during the yearly occurring Amazon fires, the climate cult tried to brand themselves with the slogan, our house is on fire / burning. So anyway, I think I'm going to leave this for now because I think we've flogged it to death. But this says, adults keep saying we owe it to the young people to give them hope. But I don't want your hope. I don't want you to be hopeful. I want you to panic. I want you to feel the fear I feel every day. And then I want you to act. I want you to act as if your house is on fire, because it is. You think she came up with that? I don't think so. And Bernie could not help it either today. When your house is on fire, you don't worry about the cost of calling the fire department. It's time to do the same with health care. We will pass Medicare for all, so no one will be afraid to call an ambulance due to the cost. The term originates from 2016 when an emergency paper plan written by psychologist, social engineer Margaret Klein Salomon, founder and executive director of the Climate Mobilization. That's not a complete sentence. I hate when that happens. No, I really do. Okay, look at this warmongering. It's disgusting. Can we heroically initiate a worldwide two-style climate mobilization? Now we are in generational war, already divided by every means possible, gender, race, religion, politics, and now even divided by age, generation. Salomon's plan lays exactly out, using nicely coded words though, what happens today with the youth, and the same slogans are used today as laid out in 2016. In her updated paper, she proudly brags about how much of her plan is already in place. So there's just more and more and more of this, and we may come back to this at some point because we haven't heard the last of little Greta Thunberg. That's for sure. And also, before we end this, I wanted to show you this. Greta Thunberg is an actress. Yes, she is. And has a 2019 movie called Climate Change: The Facts. UN speech was a publicity event to plug her movie. This is all staged for Antichrist climate hoax, a fake global crisis, so 666 can take over, get woke. Well, I think it's all tied in. Here it is, IMDb, Greta Thunberg, actress. Greta Thunberg was born on January 3rd, 2003 in Sweden as Greta Tintin Eleonora Ernman Thunberg. She is known for her work on Ave Paraíso, Climate Change, The Facts, and she's got another movie. So there you go. She's an actress. That's it. And before I go, even though I'm really overdue, aren't I? Okay, let's just look at this too, because this is interesting, and I'm wondering what this is about. It says, breaking, FBI raids Illinois state senators' offices. And it doesn't really say, they're taking out boxes full of stuff, but it doesn't really say if he's been accused of anything or what he's been accused of. So if any of you guys that live in Illinois happen to know the scoop on this, let me know in the comments, because I'm just really curious about this. They've raided the offices of Martin Sandoval, and they did that today, but they won't disclose the reason behind the raids. At least 8 men left the Senate Democratic offices, he's a Democrat, carrying 2 cardboard boxes, 2 brown bags labeled evidence, and what appears to be a desktop computer wrapped in plastic. An FBI spokesman confirmed that agents were at the Capitol Tuesday conducting authorized law enforcement activity, but declined to comment further. According to the Chicago Tribune, Sandoval, who chairs the State Senate Transportation Committee, has worked with State House Speaker Michael Madigan over the years on a variety of issues. So I don't know. It doesn't say anything really about it or what's happening, but if any of you guys are in Illinois and happen to know, or have happened to have heard any rumors, let us know, because we all want to know. We're all curious souls. So I think I'm going to call it quits there. And I know you're probably going, yay, yay, she's finally going to shut up. I know. I probably carried it too long tonight. But anyway, it is what it is. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow. No, really, I will. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay well, stay blessed, and keep seeking the truth. That's it, the truth. Good night, guys.